A group of traveling thieves are found with over $400,000 in stolen jewelry, lots of cash, and stolen Rolexes. Listen to this. The Martin County Sheriff's Office identified Marcus Rostas, 33-year-old from Romania, after reports of a theft. Upon searching his car, deputies found his 10-year-old son wearing a $40,000 Rolex. There was also a large collection of valuable items, including a squishmallow, which you saw in the previous video. Detectives also said that his 4-year-old daughter was wearing a significant necklace, while his wife Natasha was wearing very expensive jewelry. She's currently under investigation by Immigration Services.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at CD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And what I want to discuss, man, I want to take a trip over to South Carolina. We haven't been over there in a while. Normally, when we go to South Carolina in the past, I used to speak on Jim Clyburn, but now I'm speaking on illegal immigrants. Why is that? Because in South Carolina, there's an illegal immigrant Uber driver with a fake ID that assaulted a passenger for absolutely no reason at all. But before we get into that, I want to get into this next, because it never ceases to amaze me how out of step and out of touch DNC lunatics are with the American people. This woman right here, ladies and gentlemen, her name is Insha Rahman, if I'm saying her name correctly, Vice President, Advocacy and Partnership and Director of Vera Action. Why am I bringing this woman up as opposed to getting straight into the story? Well, I'll tell you why. This woman was recently at some DNC summit that occurred not too long ago, and she had the audacity to get on stage and say American citizens don't care about migrant crime. And we all know what she means is illegal immigrant crime. She got up there and said that we don't care about migrant crime. We don't care about carjackings. Apparently, we just don't care about law and order at all whatsoever. This is despite the fact that that's the platform that Donald Trump ran on that won him the election. But apparently, despite the fact that this is what we all voted for, we don't really want that and we don't really care about it. And they wonder why their party is tanking into oblivion. Let's get into this first clip next of this DNC lunatic talking complete nonsense.
Issues voters care about. Where does Trump go? Migrant crime, carjackings, the really lurid, awful stuff that is a crazy, crazy visual. Don't take the bait, because most Americans are more worried about how are we going to address mental health issues, the visible homelessness that we see on streets, and how do we deal with mental health and other issues that drive the sort of random incidents that scare all of us. That's what you should be talking about. That's where you should be focused. Don't take the bait in talking about migrant crime or carjackings or the things that actually don't matter to that many Americans. And then go to the...
What is wrong with these people? Seriously. And I'm not even trying to be mean. I'm trying to understand. I'm genuinely trying to understand. Are you stupid or are you dumb? This sounds like this might be the woman that Brandon Johnson is getting his cues from, as it pertains to just denying reality and what the American people actually want. Granted, Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris in a bloodbath, as I like to used to always say, right? How do you fix your mouth to say something that is so opposed to the American people and what they actually want? It's truly mind-blowing. Like I said, you would think that by now I'd be overhearing stuff like this and being shocked by it, but I'm not. Because once again, she's at a DNC summit. This isn't a press conference, right? Though the press to some degree is there. She's speaking to her own. She's speaking to other Democrats, giving them advice, telling them don't fall into the trap of speaking on these things. Yet it's these very things that got the man in office in there. These people are truly insane. And it's no wonder that people are fleeing the Democrat Party like crazy. And I'm not just talking about newly registered voters that are registering to become that have registered to become Republican. I'm talking about Democrats also are flipping red. That is why currently, as I discussed in a video prior, right now, Democrats are facing a deficit as it pertains to registered voters. Let's get into this video right here from CNN, where they discuss how rapidly the Republican voter base is growing in America.
Look, the Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005. In all 4 of these key battleground states, we go out to the Southwest. Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh, my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point this century, at least as far as I could find. Now, what types of gains are we talking about here for the Republican Party? Well, let's compare it to this point during the first Trump administration all the way back in 2017. Look at this. The Republican Party gains in party registration compared to this point back in 2017 during the Trump first administration. In Arizona, you got a Republican gain of 3 points. Okay, how about Nevada? Up the hill we go, even though we're sticking in the Southwest. A gain of 6 points. How about, again, we come to the East Coast, North Carolina, a gain of 8 points for the Republicans. And in the Keystone State, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, again, we're talking about a gain of 8 points. My goodness gracious, for Republicans, they are converting old former Democrats to their side of the ledger, as well as picking up new voters, registering new voters, and it absolutely paid off for them back in the 2024 election.
It's a bloodbath, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bloodbath. This is a trend that's continuing from last year, right? This is a trend. It's not slowing down at all. Republicans drastically outpace Democrats as it pertains to those registering to become voters. And the trend is continuing. They're outpacing the Democrats by more than a mile, figuratively speaking. They are way up on the scoreboard. And I don't really see in the near future how Democrats bounce back at all, especially when you have lunatics like the woman we just discussed earlier, who, when she's opening her mouth, speaks out against what the American people want. Because the reality is that everything that they speak out against is Trump's agenda. Clearly, Trump's agenda is America's agenda. Why you would speak out against that is completely ridiculous. But this is what they do. And this is why they're in the toilet. Now let's get into the meat of why you came to this video. Look at this here, man. Lord have mercy. And in South Carolina, of all places, shocking video shows CEO with service dog being knocked out by illegal Russian Uber driver. Allow me a moment to scroll down. I'm only going to read about 3 or 4 sentences in this article. Then we're going to jump into the video. But let me scroll down just a little bit first so I can read some of this article off. A Russian Uber driver working illegally in the U.S. was caught on camera headbutting a South Carolina CEO as he held his service dog, leaving the knocked out rider with a brain injury, according to the victim and a new lawsuit. And also note too, he didn't just headbutt him, but he chin checked him also, and that's what knocked him out flat on his back. He smacked his head against the concrete and was bleeding. Now, that's not going to show in the video clip that we're getting ready to see, but that's what actually happened, right? But I digress. Disturbing surveillance footage shows the driver, identified as a Russian national, I cannot pronounce that Russian name, 42 years old, suddenly marching over and knocking out Coble as he holds his 17-pound golden doodle in the parking lot. Coble being the last name of the individual that got knocked out. The CEO, his name is Brian Coble, in its entirety, right? Now, here's a direct quote from Coble. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in a hospital bed with 7 staples in my head and 4 stitches. It's been a brutal experience till this day. Now, to bring this article to a close, it continues to read, surprise, surprise, Coble, who is the CEO of a biotech company, suffered a concussion, amnesia, and scarring, and soon learned from the cops that the driver had gotten an Uber job with a fake license. And I quote in closing, Uber has to take more accountability for its drivers, he said. They are opening the door to mayhem. Oh, there is an ugly lawsuit coming to Uber right now. Man, this guy is about to get paid. This guy is about to get paid. Uber is cooked. That settlement is going to come real quick, fast, too. Millions and millions of dollars. Wow. Now let's jump into this Fox News clip next, where we're going to see the surveillance footage, and we're also getting ready to we're also going to have an opportunity, I should say, to hear from Coble, the man who got knocked out as well. So let's get into that clip next.
Take a look at this. An illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. That attack left him hospitalized with a brain injury, and he is now here to join us and tell us all about what happened here. His name is Brian Coble, and he's the CEO of TC Biofarm. Brian, thanks for coming on this morning. We're glad you're okay right now. Before we get into talking about the suspect here, just fill us in on what led up to this. There's no audio in that video, but we see the guy just get out of the car, you're holding your dog, and then he just clocks you in the face. What happened?
It was a very innocuous interaction. We had gone to get in the car, as is typical. I leaned in with the service animal to ensure that he was okay with the pet being with me. He said no pets. I said, she's a service animal. We clarified that. He objected 2 more times, at which point, which happens regularly, I told him, look, cancel the ride and we'll move on, right? I'm not here to impose that issue if he's uncomfortable. We walked around the back of the car. Next thing I know, he's out of the car in my face. I put my hand out saying, get your car, and that's it. Next thing I know, I'm on my back in the hospital.
And here's the profile on this guy, if we can pull this up. He's an illegal immigrant from Russia, 42 years old. He illegally crossed into the sanctuary state of California back in 2022. Then, as usual, was caught and released into the U.S. by the Biden administration. After he attacked you, he was arrested for second-degree assault and battery, then was released on a $10,000 bond. But he is now in ICE custody, and ICE is seeking to deport him.
Biden's migrants strikes again. Strikes again. As I've stated so many times, man, there is so much blood and dirt on the hands of the Democrats. It's no wonder people are finally having this mass awakening concerning them and fleeing the DNC because of stuff like this. And they won't admit to it, and they won't take responsibility for it. As a matter of fact, as we've all been seeing since Trump has been inaugurated and has become president, they're not just doubling down and tripling down, they're quadrupling down, right, on prioritizing illegal immigrants over American citizens. What I want to play for you next is this quick audio clip from a congresswoman from Virginia. I believe her name is Jennifer McClellan, if I remember correctly. Listen to this lunacy that's getting ready to come out of her mouth. Let me pull this clip up for you guys next.
What ICE is doing is not making us safe. The Trump administration is treating immigrants, generally, undocumented immigrants specifically, as criminals. But I remind people, being an undocumented immigrant is not a crime.
That is a whole lie. Being an illegal immigrant is 1 trillion% a crime. I don't understand what's going on with these people. Remember in a recent clip that I played with Stephen Miller on Fox News, he said, I don't understand this Democrat Party. Or he said, no, I don't recognize this Democrat Party. I feel the same way. I don't recognize these guys. I don't, this Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, AOC Democrat Party. I don't know who these guys are, because they didn't exist during the Obama administration and prior. You look at and listen to old clips from Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, even Joe Biden, back in the day, right, before he was even vice president, to Barack Obama, they were all about, keeping the border pretty much under lock and key. They were all about making sure that illegal immigrants get deported. This was the stuff coming out of their own mouths. Who this new crop of Democrats are now, I don't know. I don't know who these lunatics are. Like AOCism has completely infected the entire party. Let's check this out in closing. This woman said this really, I don't want to move past what she said. She said that ICE is not making the streets safe. ICE is running around here removing illegal immigrants by the boatloads, by the thousands, who are engaging in child's play, who are MS-13 and Terrain de Aragua gang members, murderers, killers, thieves, violators of women and children. How is that not making us safer? If ICE was allowed to do their job under the Biden administration, the guy who we're speaking on here, the CEO, who got punched in his chin and headbutt, would have never gotten knocked out and suffered brain injuries to begin with if ICE was allowed to just simply do their job, and if Border Patrol was allowed to do their job. So how can you fix your mouth to say something this stupid, Jennifer? I don't understand. I truly don't get it. Trump derangement syndrome is a very, very real thing. And in closing, I want to play you another clip from a Trump deranged individual. This is the mayor of Oakland, California, Barbara Lee. Let's get into this clip next in closing.
I just want to take a moment to first bring you greetings from Oakland, California. Oakland is in the house. Now, Oakland is a community that fights for democracy every day. And it's one that I'm honored to represent as I approach my first 100 days as mayor. And I just happen to be Oakland's first Black woman mayor.
Okay, Brandon Johnson.
Now, y'all know the signs of authoritarianism cannot be ignored. And so I want to just take a minute to thank California Democrats, led by Governor Newsom. All right, and I want to thank Texas Democrats for standing strong. I was born in Texas, proud California. Together, we are leading the fight to protect our democracy. Now, Donald Trump, he trashed Oakland. He lied about us. But Oakland is not afraid. We embrace all residents, including our immigrant communities. Our police do not cooperate with ICE. We don't.
These people hate American citizens. You can't tell me different. You can't tell me different. What more proof do you need? What more proof do you need at this point? They can't, the same way Brandon Johnson can't open his mouth without reminding you that he's black, it is the same way that DNC lunatics like this, they cannot speak without pledging their loyalty to criminal illegal aliens that Tom Homan and the gang is trying to remove from the streets. Our police will not work with ICE to remove MS-13 gang members. Our police, our local police community officers will not work with ICE to get rid of Terrain de Aragua gang members, who are registered terrorists, by the way, right? They've been designated as terrorists. We're not going to work with the police to get rid of the cartel. We're not going to work with the police to get rid of the violators of women and children. We're not going to work with the police to get rid of these murderers and thieves. We're not going to do that. ICE, you're on your own. And not only are you on your own, here in California, we're going to frustrate you by creating all types of apps that engage in what do they call, like ICE Watch, and there's heat maps that show where ICE is that'll tip the criminals off. These people are insane, man. And once again, it's no wonder why everyone's jumping ship, and nobody wants to be affiliated with this trash dumpster party anymore. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, share this video on your social media platform, and please do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegrams in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.